So the big story this afternoon, one we're going to cover between now and 3, and I'd like your view on this, particularly if it affects you. More money has been announced by the government today for leaseholders who are stuck in unsafe flats because of flammable cladding. Hundreds around the county and here in Essex are stuck in flats that they can't sell because they've failed fire tests. Well, here's what Robert Jenrick, the Community Secretary, has had to say today.
I'm therefore, today, making an exceptional intervention on behalf of the government and providing certainty that leaseholders in high-rise residential buildings will face no cost for cladding remediation works. We will make further funding available to pay for the removal and replacement of unsafe cladding for all leaseholders in high-rise residential buildings of 18 metres and above, or above 6 stories in England.
Now, for small or medium blocks, he said leaseholders will not be asked to pay more than £50 a month. One block affected in Essex is Lynmouth Avenue in Chelmsford, where cladding has been found to be flammable. Well, Zoe Bartley lives there and is on the line to me now. Good afternoon, Zoe.
Oh, good afternoon.
So tell me about your current situation that you find yourself in.
So we're in a shared ownership flat. It's a one-bedroom, first-floor property at Lynmouth Avenue. We found out recently that our building has HPL cladding, which is highly flammable. The insulation was also not installed correctly at the time. And we've also got missing fire breaks in the walls.
Now, when you first heard that, what was your initial reaction? Because that's quite scary to listen to, isn't it?
Yeah, I think our initial reaction was kind of in two parts. Firstly, how unsafe does this make us in our home? Are we living in a building that, if it caught fire, would it be a risk to our lives? And secondly, how much is this going to cost us to put right? Because as leaseholders, we do have that legal obligation to pay for it, even if we didn't cause that issue.
Do you now know if this extra money is going to help you?
No, I mean, we don't qualify for the Building Safety Fund because we're below 18 metres. They've indicated that there's a low interest loan scheme that they're considering for buildings of our height, and it's going to be £50 a month. That could help some people, but I mean, it depends on how the lenders are going to react. We're in a position where we're in a one-bedroom flat. We're a family of 4, about to become a family of 5. And it's just not sustainable for us to live in this property anymore. If lenders don't react to the new £50 loan in the appropriate way, it means that our property could potentially remain unsellable whilst that loan is attached to it.
Sure, and of course, £50 a month, that's still money that you're going to have to find, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still money that, we shouldn't have to pay. We didn't cause this problem. If someone had told me when I went to buy this property 4 years ago that the outside of the building was covered in flammable material, I wouldn't have purchased it. So for them to try and make me pay for developers cutting corners and putting dodgy material on my building just is a bit of a slap in the face.
Now, you've been speaking to other people in Essex who've got very similar issues as well, haven't you?
Yes, I've got a couple of friends in other buildings, and I've spoken to a couple of other leaseholders who are in similar positions to us.
So when you heard the clip there of the Community Secretary, Robert Jenrick, you're not getting much comfort, are you, from what he's saying there at the moment?
No, I think in terms of buildings above 18 metres, he specifically says cladding, and we know this isn't, it's referred to as a cladding scandal, but it's not. It's a building safety scandal. We've got flammable insulation that's not been correctly installed, missing fire breaks, missing cavity barriers, and the £5 billion fund that he's announced is great, but it's not going to come anywhere near to covering all of the fire safety issues that leaseholders are facing.
Yeah, and as you say, you've got a sizable family there to look after. I would imagine that when you found out the details of what your flat is surrounded by, did you start thinking about things like more safety in the way of alarms, and have you had to install anything else just for peace of mind, really?
Not at the moment. We've had investigations ongoing for the past year. So we've had people coming in and out of the building for the past year, builders cutting holes in the walls to check what's behind there. And we've not actually received the final report to confirm exactly what remedial works have been done or what needed to be done. At the moment, it's just they've kind of given us an overview of the issues, as it were.
Mm. Well, as we know, the government are stepping in today to try and deal with this. Do you think it should be up to them, or should it be the developers, or maybe a bit of both?
I think it's a two-part issue. Government regulations have just been substandard and have allowed developers to get away with murder. But we've also got developers, and what we've seen from the Grenfell inquiry, and manufacturers of the cladding who have been cutting corners and faking fire safety tests to get their materials onto these buildings, and they should foot the bill. Obviously, there is instances where potentially manufacturers or developers have gone bust, and in those instances, I do believe that the government should foot the bill. But the majority of the issue should be dealt with by the developers and the manufacturers who caused this issue in the first place.
Well, Zoe, I want to wish you and your family all the very best, and thank you so much for being with us today. Zoe Bartley